Woke up this morning, stubbed my toe on hope. It was hiding by the dresser, guess I couldn't cope with seeing it first thing, all shiny and demanding, like a motivation poster that needs better understanding. My coffee tasted like ambition, slightly burnt and weak. My reflection whispered, better days don't even speak, till you've conquered that weird smell coming from the fridge door hinge, or figured out why socks vanish on a laundry binge. Oh, the legend of the better days, they're coming soon, they say, like a package you forgot you ordered, stuck somewhere halfway. They're riding unicorns, perhaps, or arriving on a breeze. But right now I'm just wrestling with today's awkward sneeze. So here's the plan, profound and grand, ridiculously clear. We'll tackle all that sunshine, one slightly frazzled day a year. No way, one day at a time, yeah, that's the slightly saner scheme. Just keep putting one foot forward, fueled by caffeine and a dream. I tried to make a vision board, it mostly looked like snacks and pictures of celebrities avoiding income tax. My grand plan for improvement gets derailed by shiny things, or the sudden urgent need to know who really sings.
Good morning, guys. I hope everybody is doing okay. Another Tuesday here in the Philippines. We hope everybody had a great Easter and a nice Easter weekend. I know travel back is going to be a mess. I know there's real bad weather going on. I can't believe it's still snowing in some places in the United States. And sadly, we had made the announcement, like it had only been announced for like 8 to 10 minutes that the Pope passed away. You all know I'm a Scientologist or a sinner, kind of somewhere in between. Just a vlogger, and so I mean, I've you always see him on the news, and so it's just more familiar for me by face. I don't know a whole lot about it, but he did pass on, so I guess we should say prayers. um, so, in saying that, today we're going to be talking about targeted in the Philippines. And the discussion today is going to be what is that? Oh, that's black. I don't know why that's black. Interesting. The nail. What it is I was cleaning this morning, but I don't know what that is. That's not hair dye or something. Huh. Must have been something that had color. Huh. Oh, it might have been when I was using, I have like an ube food coloring. That's food coloring and flavor, and it's dark purple. Maybe when I was messing and cleaning the bowl out, because we had fruit and that flavor plus like a cream in there, it was a darker purple. I bet you that's what that is. Could be chocolate from a donut. I think it's the ube. But anyway, so we'll talk about being targeted in the Philippines. And what brings us about is there's been a lot more reports on Facebook and like from, expats talk. And when these expats talk to each other, they've been saying there's been a lot more crime post pandemic. But of course, this is going to happen in the bigger cities. It could happen out and about, but especially like here in Angeles City. And so it was announced, and this is what brought it to my attention. It said, to be careful because another tourist had died. And they're saying a Korean tourist was robbed. And as I'm to understand from all the comments, they're basically saying that he put up a fight. Let's see, might even actually have some actual footage. Well, can't really see it. Let me see if I can see it, guys. This is last minute. I saved this article yesterday. Nope, there it is. It's the actual robbery. Interesting. Okay. So let me see if I can get this footage for you. Somebody has the video. This wasn't out yesterday or the day before. So let me see. All right, you guys can see it. Why did it do that? It's going to keep doing it. God dang it. Now, can you guys see it? So that's two guys rolling up on a bike in a distance. Okay, so now it's going to. 1 second. Let's try this again. There it is. All right, so just two guys. You could kind of see them here on this side. Them guys there in this corner over here, they simply rode up and snatched his bag and they both jumped on, but it looks like and I'll have to see if this is the actual incident. This might just be another incident in Angel City. But let me see if it's actually stating. No, I guess they had attacked him right there. So you can't actually see where I don't know why they put it at that angle. Keeps flipping on me. Huh. I'm trying to see if this is. And here's the thing. They look like they're in uniform, guys. I'm staring at it now, and I don't even see where they injured him, but they must have because the guy dropped. So they look like they're in some sort of uniform, but we know it's not. So I'll see if I can. That's a little frustrating. So it's frustrating to see that, and people are in here stating they hope that he gets what they deserve. That's if they catch the guys. So today's incident already made the news in Korea. It'll be a decline in Korean tourism in Angeles City. But here's the thing. Today what I'll discuss is a lot of these that are going on are in areas what I call shady. So and it was around one of those bars. It looks to be, I could be wrong, the perimeter area, like on the outside of it. And them are where more of the dive bars are. And there's been a lot of things. I gotta wake up this morning. There's been a lot of incidents, so I'm a little overwhelmed with what's been. This is driving me nuts. Whatever's on my nail. Every time I put my hand up, I can see it. So I'll have to see if I can get it off because it looks horrible, but yet it's not. Especially, I mean, I've done dishes and everything else. I don't know why it hasn't come off. But so I'm going to go through the comments. Let me just pull myself together here. I've been getting a couple reports. So let me start with one thing at a time and regroup here. There have been people pickpocketing people at the malls, like they've been targeting people during the holiday. They've been snatching bags. They've been doing cell phones. You're just going to get the scams. It is that time of the year, and you have to learn to not make yourself a target. First off, this was broad daylight. So usually if you're going out at night, it's kind of common sense. The other part of it is going to be, it helped it some. Yeah. See, it came off when I used the wipe that had alcohol on it. So making yourself a target is just being in that area, the shady areas, the nudie bars, the alcohol bars. And then the other part of it is when these guys kind of dress up. Now we say that you should carry minimal money on you, hit the ATMs at the right place, but like that guy had the bag across him. Usually, I hate to say it now that, we say make sure you're holding on to your valuables in one of those bags. I think that might also make people a target. So, like with a bag across it, they're assuming there's a bunch of valuables in it. And so, but I see Filipinos with backpacks. I see expat with backpacks. So you have to watch how flashy you are, your jewelry, but probably just being a foreigner is just being a target itself. So it 100% makes you a target. So, but I'll go through some of these comments. Wow, somebody said, "What year is this? Is it fake?" No, it's just somebody with bad footage. Further down, someone said the footage didn't look real. Let me see if I can. No, the footage, it's just by the time you upload stuff here, we've uploaded stuff at high speeds and it looks like this. I don't know what it is. But I'm trying to figure out why the guys look like them crossing guards. They've got crossing guard, the belt things across them, across their waist. I'm trying to figure that out too. And I recognize that bar. It's that bar on the outside by Garfield's, looks like. And those are what I call the super shady $5 sucky sucky bars. So I mean, it is what it is. That looks to be the corner of there by Garfield's where anything goes. Like anything goes. I've heard all kinds of stories in those places. And that ain't no lie. Let's see, I'm just reading through these. So basically, I've been here for over 4 years and nothing's ever happened. Nothing's disappeared in our yard. Nobody's attempted to come in and take the battery out of the e-trike. And we're in and out of Angel City all the time. We're on the outskirts. Nothing has happened to me in the Philippines. So I have a couple other articles where people are just outright fear mongering. They're outright saying, oh, don't go to the Philippines. It's super bad and this, and that. And to me, it is super bad in other parts of the world. So it's not so just for the Philippines. I mean, I would be more worried about the corruption part of it and the political side of it before that. You just have to be smart when you're actually here. So I'm a female and it doesn't drive me away. George is super cautious. He actually is. There's nothing where he's saying, hey, let's go back to Mexico. Let's go back to the US, which I wouldn't attempt that at any point right now with what's going on over there with immigration. Because I don't even know if it's true. They're claiming here shortly the birthright citizenship's going to be voided. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What does that even mean? So I started going through it with George yesterday and I'm like, so you're telling me I don't even know what that means. So if both parents are foreigners, then their kids would be invalid now because George has kids. So George is a foreigner. Is George's kids invalid over there right now? So it must be two parents. I don't know. But I wouldn't consider going back. The cheap still outweighs, and the happiness that I have here outweighs me even thinking about being afraid of being here. So there is another article that I'm going to read where a woman, or it could be a Filipino, I don't know who it is, but that's wanting to come back. They actually asked, will I be kidnapped? It was a flat out, and I'm like, oh, they're just trying to get clicks on this one. But it's a very legit question to actually ask. Hi, guys. Hey, there's Calvin. Say, hey, Calvin. Hi, Calvin. Hi, Calvin. Geo. We ended up naming the black one Geo. They're in there playing right now, having a good time. So, all right. So I don't know what it is. I am disoriented this morning. Could be because George isn't here and I haven't had my coffee. Cleaning this morning. So let me go through some of the comments, and that's what the topic is going to be today. So I don't know. And the timing is off. So the timing is really off for us, but we didn't want to keep going live at 9:00 with the time change. And so this might be throwing people off. So when we went live the other day at 9, we're just not smiling, be happy. Good morning. Good morning. Hilarious. I can already see through the bubble overhead. Yeah, Jollibee, you're talking about the starter pack. There were more at the bottom. There was a microphone. There was a microphone and Cialis pills and all that. And I just used it and I put that on the front of his shirt about him being a vlogger and best lover and all that. I thought it was kind of cute, but um, you know, but it makes him a target. It is very, very stereotypical what they do, as far as how they see the expats, how they see American females, how they see Filipinas, how they see them over in Thailand. And it's not everybody. There was another rant about American women. They put some old woman with gray hair, and she says, "Oh, I'm ready to start dating." And they were like, "No, thank you." And I started laughing, and I'm like, "You don't think the women think that about you?" And but they were like, putting her in a box, and then like these guys are put in a box, and it's not everybody, but it is fun. It is fun to make fun. Hello, what is going on, MB? Good morning. Good morning, Ted. How are you? Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I'm about ready to turn these cats out. Guys, yeah, we just got notification that bye. Bye, bad cat spray. And you're about ready to go too. That we will be having mommy cat fixed on. Her appointment is Saturday, so that's our next availability for us and for them. So we'll be actually taking her into the physical vet office. So, but interesting. So we have to. She's old enough. They got to be over 5 months old, and she had stopped nursing. They're almost 3 months old, and now she's letting them latch back on again. So I know they're going to ask us about that, but they've been eating hard food for more than a month. So, she's got to be fixed. So she's got to be fixed. What's going on, Alan Murphy? Good morning. Hey, what is going on, like a spot? What is going on? Hola, hola. Victor is in the house. I can't with this action figure. Like I said, I put the t-shirt part of it on. Targeted, yeah, Pablo. I know you came in at 804. Targeted, because as a foreigner in any country, you're a target for multiple things. Being overcharged, being scammed, how they can get things from you, expectations can be a target on you. Whether it's the family asking for money and you're getting targeted as an ATM machine, whether it's with a woman or the family. And this would be, again, any country. This would have happened in Mexico. This could have, although I told George, he gets really upset. I told him, I've been in a lot of countries. A lot. Okay. I've been in Canada. I've been in the Middle East. And I've been in Europe. And this is the only place I get the feeling that has the most, in my opinion, desperation. I didn't feel this in Mexico. Like, you have all the animals on the street that are always hungry. You have the street kids and people asking for money. Like I said, they just go through the neighborhood and actually ask for money. I stopped giving money quite some time ago because it just seemed like I was a pure target being outside and people asking for money. In the first year, I used to go back out and hand things out, but you're a target for the skin tax is a real thing. Target because of the way you dress. There's been a lot of snatchings of purses, phones, bags, pickpocketing going on, and it's not actually, according to the government, it has substantially dropped. According to the locals, and when people keep posting it and we keep talking to people, it's going up. It just keeps going up. And so it's just where it is. And as a foreigner, you're going to be. But if George was here, I'm sure he would say it's happening to Filipinos. I'm sure it is. But it's the ones that I'm concerned with is the ones, like a lot of these foreigners have a, I don't give an F attitude. I mean, I carry it, and I've carried it the first few years I was here. So in the beginning, I was like, well, you know, got to dress down. I already dressed down, and we don't wear jewelry in public except for our simple bands. I don't wear my second ring out in public. Um, I don't know. You just gotta be careful. You're just seen as money as a foreigner. Can you say hello? Huh? Why are you being so bad? Why are you being so bad, Bobtail? Ooh, ooh, go on. Ugh. So yeah, most definitely. What's up? What'd you guys think of the new song Better Days? That was written by us yesterday. That'll also be uploaded to for Philippine Antics Music. So it's everywhere right now. It's being distributed through Spotify and we don't really expect to sell any. People can just use it on. It can be used through YouTube now on videos, and so mostly we're just making it for fun. We know it's not going to sell. We hold our expectations like here. The music is made for us because we like to personalize it. And George is still working on that book. And also recently, I don't know how it's going to be applied. Me and George sat down yesterday, and items that we use in the house that we've been using for a few years are legitly what we believe in. This is not, we're not going to get rich on it. Yeah, I think there's 8% commission on it. We don't expect people to buy it. It's more of a list of items in case people are looking for a refrigerator that's working and it won't break down. We put the air purifiers in there. We have a little speaker that cost, I want to say it was like $10, and we've had it forever. So, all right, guys, you really gonna get it. Get. They are wound up. Usually they're napping by now. So there's a list now. I don't know if it's in the description. I don't know if it's going to be on the side like the t-shirts that we used to have, but yeah, so it's actually going to be in there. So it took a little bit to look around and say, hey, what have we been using? And I mean, we have a lot more items. Like we have an oversized fan we bought when we got here. So there's a lot of items, but we know that they work. They can be delivered by Shopee or Lazada, but I think it's listed through Shopee. And yeah, there's a lot of people have asked, you know, but yeah, we likey. Good morning, Jose. Good morning. Doubt decline. Oh, are you talking about, yeah, where the government, that's what they were saying. They're saying substantially, but you know, there's actually been other kidnappings since the American disappeared, and there's been no update on that. But I think there's been less stuff put out because I think one of them was Chinese, and I don't know why that would make it any less of an issue. But yeah, I believe he was a businessman or something that they had snatched. But yeah, but what was it? I was just thinking about that. Eh, I am way off this morning. He just come out of a massage parlor. Probably. I'm still trying to figure out the entire story. Not really. Somebody said it's not like they were just walking down some back alley. Technically, I believe they call that the perimeter road. I'm not as good as knowing those roads there, but there's a road that runs a bunch of those. I, okay. If this was back in the United States when I was younger, we called them biker bars that were a little more sleazy. They weren't like upscale clubbed or, you know, in the heart of a mall or something. So they're already like that on Walking Street, but they've got a more commercialized and club like. Okay. And some of them are kind of skeezy inside. It's just where it is. Okay. I've been down that area, but there's an outskirt road where there's the only one I can think of is called Garfield's. And on the other side, I can't think of the name of it, but I can clearly see that's one of them. So that's got to be right there at that corner. And it does go down what looks like a residential side road. And it almost looks like they're real small. So these are the ones when people don't want to pay the bar fines or pay high prices, they go on the outskirts looking for dirtier and cheaper. And they're down there looking for dirtier and cheaper in broad daylight. and they're wearing a bag, which usually screams now that they've got something in it of value that they're holding close to them. So we always say to have an extra, like a decoy wallet, like we carried in Mexico with extra money, and we would just keep $5, $10. And at one point, I even had an extra ring in my backpack that was fake. It was like a $10 one of those crystal rings, and that way it looked like I took it off. And if they had one or two items, they just leave. So it's just, to me, I can't even think of the name of what that is. So, hey, good morning, vlogging live. What's going on? Let's see if I can get. No, they just rode right up on him, guys. And he fought him for the bag. I'm watching it again. Let me see if I can. I'll put a link inside the video for this. That way those that are watching can go in after the live and look for it. But no, it looks like traffic police. They rode up on what appears to be a newer moped that's not a cheap broke down bike. And they rode up, and it looks like the guy tried to fight him. And there were two of them. And they took the bag, and then, wow, it's crazy. It's not like somebody just ran out of the bushes. They literally, yeah. And here's another thing. He just walked up. He got directly off the motorcycle and came around the back side and just took it. He didn't walk up and no, like slick as hell. He just walked up and just, but it happened within seconds. Off the bike, came up around, took it, injured him or pewed him, and then got back on the bike and rode away. That it wasn't, and so it could happen that quick, guys. So it says it looked planned. Somebody said it would look like a total setup. I would agree and disagree, but the reason I would say is because it was wild. It's almost like there was no reaction. They rode up. The one guy got off the back, walked right up to him like he knew there was something, and then he just so cold, man. Hmm. Here's somebody saying everywhere in the Philippines is dangerous, but I mean, I don't think so. It for foreigners is going to be an issue. Again, if you're being flashy and spending a ton of money, but there's every other person's doing that. Every other person proclaims to be a vlogger too, and so when you're carrying around all that equipment, you don't see any of them guys being picked off. So I mean, but that's what I keep seeing in here. Everybody's in danger. Everybody's in danger. Okay. Somebody said here that a few days ago they saw a guy walking from Queen's Hotel down the back road and headed towards the Rains massage area. He actually had a Rolex on and a bunch of gold chains. I tried to warn him that it was making him a huge target and to be careful, and that what he was wearing, well, yeah, the Rolex would have been beyond what a Filipino makes in a year. And it says here that to be careful. And he told me, he says, I ain't no bitch, mind your business. So
I have really terrible, horrible wounds.
okay, hold up, guys. Oh, I wanted to make
it's-
sure what he was going to
It's
say.
that hot. It's
Yeah.
stupid hot.
Yeah, he just
Electric bill.
yeah, the electric bill. So here's the deal. Is this during the time frame that something else? No, this isn't during the repair or nothing. So this is probably because we went from 26 to 25.
Well, it's not
Correct.
the setting of the unit.
So it's probably because it's hotter and it's
Correct.
working
It's
harder.
working harder. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So our electric bill on average is between 7,000 and 8,000 pesos. Average is probably what, about 8 right now.
I got you
And
lucky fruit.
oh yeah, I knew you had to go out and do things this morning, so I didn't even get to telling people where you're at. Oh no, lucky fruit for
No, here's lucky fruit. No, really, it's lucky fruit.
yeah.
Here it is.
Uh-huh.
You can see it's lucky fruit.
Looks like your Lucky Charms that I was sucking on this morning.
Yeah. So anyway, try it.
Well, I'm not. First off, that's the camote stuff. They're
It's
just small
it's not. It's not. This is lucky fruit.
and they're hard.
Okay, this is called macopa. It's called a macopa. Macopa is, if it's green, it's called a lucky fruit. It's a fruit.
Yeah, I'll pass.
It's not camote. It's also good for as an enema. But anyway, no, it's really good.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're out of control. All right. So so something's off today. I already told you guys that I'm stumbling all over the place. I can't get things out, not staying on track, and really, well, there's other things going on right now. The electric bill is 11,000 pesos, so that did jump by. That would be $80 if it went up 4 notches. That's $80. It went from 8 to 11. Each thousand is a 20. So yeah, that's 80 US dollars. It went up just because it got warm. So in 1 month it changed, it jumped to. But here's another thing. This had to go up because the highest bill we've ever had was this at the other place. So I think this might be our highest electric bill here.
Well, only one way to find out is look at the other bill.
What do you mean?
Look at the numbers.
No, I got that. But
Yeah.
we've never had, doesn't matter what the rates are. We've never had an 11,000 peso bill.
Yeah, I
since we've
think it's
been
the
here.
temperature is just really, really insanely
No,
hot.
it's not. It's been 99 to 100, and that's not even with the humidity. It's just been
Yeah.
reading 100 degrees, and it said it was going to be hot. No, last night we had another power outage, and when we had the power outage, it knocked out some of the plugs. When it came back on, we think the fuse box. It tripped the one that runs the outside on the back porch where one of the machines was the washing machine, and the other is the plug on the other side where is the hot plate, coffee maker, and all that. Thank God we didn't have anything plugged in, but that plug it seems that socket is fried. And so everything that's used there cannot be used. And so now I'm trying to get a hold of the landlord, which I think will be almost an impossible. He's probably gonna have to get a hold of the actual owner just to get a second number, or I'm just gonna have to deal with stuff, or we will have to deal with stuff. When I say me, it doesn't bother you because that affects the hot water in the bathroom and everything. And you don't mind cold showers, and I guess I won't either. And I don't mind using a microwave. So, so we lost power yesterday, and so yeah, I've just been picking up, moving things out of the way. So there's been a lot of extra cleaning.
Yeah, just imagine you're taking a shower at Camp Mini Wonka,
Okay. So when did you get these?
yesterday.
Oh, gotcha.
Why?
Oh no, I was just curious. I
They're
don't.
sweating because it's, you know, hot.
Yeah. So
That didn't sound right, but I guess.
this is. I can't real. I tried to show the people. These are the guys that robbed the Korean. Look at the outfits they've got on. Watch how they just walk up and take it and then walked away that quick. They took his stuff in the other one, little to no fight. Within 30 seconds, they were back on the bike. But what's with the outfits? And then they left. Isn't this over there by that Garfield Perimeter Road? Isn't then them what I call the extra bars that are extra? That's Garfield. That's that one bar. There's right around the corner is Garfield's and that one. They said those are the $5 ladies and stuff over there. It's the I call them the extra bathroom hand job places or something. But that's definitely the more what I call
Well,
skeezier side. Ski.
well, yeah, and again, like, not. I mean, I'm not saying it's okay or anything, but I'm saying usually during the holidays, that's when these type of people come out. It
Yeah.
is.
So he's no longer. They injured him. He's unalive. So they did. So
Yeah.
he's
Bear says he was pew pewed. Yeah. I'm Um, he was pew pewed after a massage. At least he had a happy ending.
uh
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean it's really sad when this happens, and again, there's no reason to do that, and especially since. But again, remember, first off, he did he put up a resistance? I'm first off, I'm just telling you guys, don't put up resistance. Period. Don't give him a reason to. Did he put up resistance? From judging from the camera, no, but he could have been yelling at him. I'm not saying it's not okay to yell. I mean, I would too. But what I'm saying is the other reason, since he doesn't look like he really gave a fight, the other reason to pew pew him is because again, he knows them.
Mm.
And it's you have to remember it's just kind of like Bear says, he was pew pewed after a massage. At least he had a happy ending. It seems like it's a setup, like they knew. You know what I'm saying?
I was telling people I've been here 4 years and never had any issues, and nobody's taken anything out of our yard. And you would have to be more worried about what goes on here politically and the corruption, whether they're going to approve things on your. You got more issues outside of that than the chance of something like that happening with all the tourists that come in and out of here. It's not, the way people carry on. It's like it happens all the
Well,
time.
it's kind of like Big Burr and what's his name? Totally. What I'm saying is, it's whenever you do weird stuff or be flashy like that, you definitely make yourself a target. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. The only reason why Vitoli and his accomplice knew what they were doing, because they knew if if they did that in BGC, which that's where they did it, most of those people aren't gonna do anything. You know what I'm saying? But if you did that in Tondo, if you did that in Mindanao, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You can't get away with that type of behavior. Um, you know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah, somebody here said they've been here several times and they said nothing's ever happened. And that's what I keep reading. And I was telling people that there's another article with someone just flat out. I read it to you the other day where they said, am I going to be kidnapped or is there real
no,
danger when I move to the Philippines? And I'm like,
nobody's gonna get kidnapped you unless you give them a reason to.
well, even then, there are flashy people that they
That's what I'm
know, and
saying.
it's
Or the
just
ones that brag on
individuals.
YouTube.
Well, and they don't even do that. There's thousands of vloggers in this area. They walk around with equipment. They're flashy with their money down on Walking Street, and nothing ever happens to them.
No,
It's
no,
just a
I
very,
know.
in my opinion, it's still a rare
Yeah, and like I
situation.
said, in this situation, I believe again, it's these people who committed the crime know him. or
I
the
think you guys
females
have
have.
more of an issue running into a poor sick animal that makes you feel bad about him being sick on the street, or the street kids,
You
or people asking for money, or family. I was telling people about,
yeah,
targeted. Pablo asked about being targeted. I said, yeah, you could even be targeted by your wife or girlfriend's family over money to pay rent or their college or dental bills, or because in my opinion, that's pretty slick. How you're asked for money, or you don't even know it. Next thing you know, there's 3, 4 kids asking for money. If they see you hand it out, there's going to be other people that are going to walk up. And in my opinion, some of them just ask for the money anyways, and they've already got it. It's almost a given situation. But no, you can be targeted in many ways.
yeah.
And
You have a higher chance of contracting cat scratch fever than being, pew pewed because of, you know, because of your valuables. To be honest with you,
the cats
like I
that
said, as long as you like even in the U.S. I mean, as long as you're not flashy, for the most part, Filipinos aren't going to target you. But also don't be. Well, I
you
would.
still got to be on your guard. We
Yeah,
be on our
that's
guard in the United States. It doesn't matter. I trust nobody, and you go outside of your house, even if it's in a subdivision in your rich neighborhood, you never let your guard down.
right.
Just as you are during the holidays, people sit there all snide. Oh, nobody's going to get me. You don't think they don't let friends of their kids or other people let other people into those expensive subdivisions that aren't criminal at some point or got criminal minds? Of course, it
No,
happens. Or
yeah,
they can go up and over the wall, or they'll find a way. They'll find a way here in any subdivision. A lot of people tell us, if you pay more money and go to a better subdivision, you'll be way safer. And I kind of disagree. They still get in there and they still do stuff. So it's, you
right.
know,
A good example of something a lot of people are guilty of is walking around with their cell phones out and using it.
yeah, we do.
Now, oh, you do? I don't think you do.
When I'm on the trike and sitting in the back, I do.
That's different though. You're inside.
On the e-trike, they can still walk up when you keep stopping
Oh
in
well,
traffic.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I am too. I try not to, but for the most part,
Well, for the most
it's
part, try not to use your phone outside, even if, let's say, you're in BGC. And the reason why I say that, it's not because of BGC. BGC is a really good place. It's just an example. Don't use your phone up, your smartphone while you're walking around in BGC. Just an example. I'm giving an example as it doesn't matter how safe the place is. One, you can trip and fall and crack your head open. Two, you can get run over because you're not paying attention. You walk right into traffic.
yeah.
Three, most of the people who do snatch and grabs are never from that area. Most most people who do snatch and grabs are usually a province over or two provinces over. They literally go down to the city
Could be your
to
sister-in-law.
target, to target people like that walk around with their cell phones out, that kind of deal. Just so you guys know. Like a spot says, kitty.
Yeah, they're out of control today. I was
Oh,
telling mommy will get fixed on Saturday from the vet.
Ouchicon says, if he just came out of the massage parlor, the girls from the parlor may be in on it. Why would he be? Why would he bring a bag into a massage parlor? Well, the bag is that's a
The valuables. But it does look like it's there in the perimeter road area. I could be
right,
wrong. The blue building and the sign looks familiar. I could be wrong
but
about it being a bar
I do
area.
agree with Pablo Chicano. Again, remember I said they may know him. Is one again?
Well, he might have heavily tipped or took out a
Well, the
wad of
girls could have
money.
called their boyfriends and said, "Hey, here's one coming out right now."
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just think it's on a larger scale here that they tip like they did that crap in Mexico. I just think they network a lot better here. Does it happen in the US where they go in and say, "Hey, this shop's got a bunch of money and it's a great place to target"? Sure, they network over there too, but to me, there's a lot of desperation going on over here, or like in Mexico or in the Middle East. It's just, lots of opportunities with the foreigners. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Or it's possible that the girl was like, and then the only tip he gave me was his tip. Go get him.
It sounds like me this morning, but I didn't get no tip or a
The
tip.
only tip that the Korean guy gave me was his tip.
At least he got a tip. I didn't get a tip or a tip.
Haritagi Fool says $5 Chucky. There you go. Victor C. Hope that George's doing good today.
That's probably pre when
Yeah,
you're
no, I
out
know,
running
but
around. He had running around to do this morning. I'm
but Jimmy
surprised he came back
Cricket's
that early.
the traffic is still insane, and in fact, was it yesterday? Well, the one
Talking about you,
no Easter,
Easter,
Easter.
and
It was wall to wall traffic, wall
your
to wall traffic.
your aunt's birthday party.
Yeah,
The traffic was
it was wall to wall.
insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was solid cars. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Great party.
Jose Rodriguez says the fact they did it in broad daylight is crazy. Well, that's the thing. That's what makes this event sus. It's not so much the daytime, it's the timing. It's so weird.
Well, here's the deal. It was in the news. It actually happened, and someone's like, "This footage can't be real, or this couldn't have happened." So it's
It's very sus because again, it's
yeah.
you usually have these kind of
I can't believe it
drive-bys
happened in broad
like
daylight. I am.
well, no, they do snatch and grabs during in broad daylight, but it's just weird that so you're telling me that the odd time that this gentleman just went out is the time that it happened. It's just weird timing. That's all.
I
Yeah.
think there are so many different ripoffs and lives and things being targeted. Like today, and the example for me is I was playing the video game and you have to grind on it, and then they throw up they want to sell you $20-$40 packages, and this has got hundreds of paywalls, and I'm like, now this is a ripoff. I said all these little things that are ripping people off, which should be regulated by the government somehow, some way. It's like all these little things that people are being scammed on, and it's kind of hard to, well, it isn't hard to explain. You're losing money here, here, and there, and then on the bigger things, people let go or something. It's kind of like there's 101 ripoffs going on, or ways you're being targeted, whether it's by a consumer, whether it's by your wife, whether it's by your girlfriend. There's all kinds of things. You just got to pick and choose your battles. But it was like, I was thinking about all the bigger pictures of what's going on. And I'm going to mention bringing, well, I don't know if I want to bring in Trump into this morning. Supposedly, he wants the chairman of finance, and I don't know exactly who it is. He wants him to go. I watched a couple channels this morning, but they want him to go, and it's not even government regulated. So now it's really freaking out the stock market again. And I'm like, there's so many different things going on. There's this hand and that hand, and the reduction of military, all these different things. And it's like, and then you got all these little things, and there are just so many things that that you have to decide, is this right? Is this wrong? And so, anyways, I just kind of started thinking about it's little things like I'm like, people are worried about this, and that, and it's everyday things like the prices of groceries that they're messing with based on this, and that. Is there really the chicken flu? Is it just, you know, is I'm going deeper than I probably should, but we're a target one way or the other.
Well, I'm
So many different things. I mean, when I seen the price on those games, and it's a simple game, and some of them items were $80, and they're throwing up paywalls. Yeah, you just don't play
they're
the
U.S.
game.
prices.
That's what I mean. And it's like, but
And
the
they're
crazy
insane, too.
part is people pay it, and it's called more of a brainwash situation than it is anything. And I've been guilty of paying for it, and people got used to it. But if you'd have thought about it in the 90s, you would have never just thrown even $20 away on something that doesn't mean anything. But people are doing it now, like ridiculously.
Well,
Like I was thinking about the vloggers. Like I seen the guy that went to that Irwin's or whatever that is. The strawberries were $25 for a strawberry, and he bought like 80 or $100 worth. And he just sat there, and the guy eats all the food in his car. And that's all he did was try the strawberries out. And I'm like, so let me get this right. You did a vlog and bought $80 worth of strawberries to what? To, I mean, was it because you're a narcissistic vlogger that that's just what you're doing? Or are you doing it? There's no real influence in it. And it's some of the stuff I was telling you the other day about the vloggers that are really spending a ton of money just to be seen situation. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of going outside the.
No, it's fine. I was just trying to figure out where, because there's a lot of reactions there. But just so you know, there's like for those of you who know what War Thunder is a vehicular um game, like based on real vehicles. They have a vehicle that you can buy for $20,000. Real money. Real money. A
In the game?
Yes, in the game. A virtual tank. It's a mouse.
Which is insane.
$20,000.
It's just insane. And you would think the government would regulate that they can charge for zilch like that. But I guess if the idiots are like us or anybody, they would even pay $1 towards any of those online games, and they feel that but to me, there's so many other things that the people, the government shows concern for the people, but I think about all the things where they're saying like that president here cares about the people or Trump cares about the people. Yeah. It's what about all the in between stuff that's going on about the people? And yeah, so you're a target one way or the other. I'm a target to George every morning,
Yeah.
tip and no tip.
Oh, I qualified on Call of Duty for Legendary World Championship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I qualified. I wasn't trying to qualify, but apparently I did because it gave me a notification. It says you are now on the legendary list for World Championship.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyway, um, Pablo Chicana says, I guess they didn't know about security cameras there. No,
They're everywhere,
it's like England.
honestly.
For some strange reason, the Philippines has
A
cameras
lot of cameras now.
everywhere. Like, look up if you're in a city anyway. I mean, I'm not obviously in the
We
province.
have
You won't,
cameras
but
in the house, and we pay for the cloud. A lot of people won't pay for the cloud. I mean, they just won't. But we pay for the cloud, plus the cards are in it, and we have them on the outside too.
yeah,
And I think one of the reasons we've been this safe, again, there's a big government official that's bigger than even the mayors around here, and he lives in this subdivision. And I really believe nobody's going to screw around. Honestly, I think there's something a lot darker going on. So I think we're safe. It's kind of like, I can't
well,
say
it
it,
goes
but
by territory.
yeah. So I believe he's the protected one here. And so I just don't think anybody's going to come mess within the block itself or something. They don't know if this isn't all owned by him, because this is a row
Yeah,
of what looks like townhouses. And so,
yeah, and the security cameras I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the ones that are personally owned, like by us or the neighbors. There are actual government cameras
yeah, on the streets.
everywhere. Yeah,
And we have literally one street over, which is, I don't know if that's 600 feet. There's a church literally in this subdivision. So I think that's another reason, which is up and around the corner. And yeah, they've got the cameras everywhere. So yes, people I just don't think people really calculate that, or they really just didn't care, because they are covered. But I'm sure one way or the other, they'll find out who that is. So
no, they'll catch them. Because what happens is they look at that route where they were going, the direction they were going, and then they'll check the cameras that are on that way, and that way they can see, okay, does he have a tag? Well, odds are it doesn't have a tag. I'm gonna be honest with you, because a lot of motorcycles here don't have tags.
let's see, there's the thumbnail.
Yeah, and oh, cool. And a lot of
So doesn't have a tag on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You feel like somebody erased their minds in the middle of the night, or was
No,
that
that's called
the?
interrupted memory.
Well, it's because yeah,
Yeah. No, anyway,
I
no.
erased your
And
memory
there
this
there are
morning.
no interrupted memory when somebody's talking and then you say something and or show something and it jogs them. But I mean, even in the US, there's a lot of people that drive around without their licenses driving motorcycles. Some have licenses, they're just not valid for motorcycles. That kind of deal that happens here a lot. That's why there's a lot of checkpoints here in the Philippines.
Hey,
Mostly
Scott.
for motorcycles, usually not for cars, usually for motorcycles. So I don't think them following the motorcycle, they won't find a tag there, I guarantee it. But they might be able to tell where it's from and what area it's from.
Somebody said here, I never carry a bag. I just have a wallet. Because I was saying we used to use those, but for the most part,
Yeah, actually,
but I've been known to like the backpack I always carry around because we carry different things in it. So, I mean, but here's the thing. It doesn't matter what I carry. If I'm going to be a target, I'm going to be a target.
yeah.
But when you outright seems to be they like to snatch those, like the guy that was in Mindanao that got hit after the ATM near the hotel or what at
No,
the
some
American.
will blatantly grab your bag from you
Yeah.
at a stoplight if you're riding a motorcycle, and they'll try to grab the bag off of you. That's why you should always wear the bag or backpack in front of you. I know it looks silly, but trust me, that's the way to go. Just saying. Now, if
Hey, Cindy.
you
Good
can opt for a
morning,
more
Ruby.
cooler and more awesome fanny pack if you want, but fanny packs are actually a lot easier to snatch because they're not as durable. That one strap will usually fail right away if you give it a good tug. You know what I'm saying?
Um, Pine Eddie asked, "Is it 240 in the city?" No, it's 240 for the most part volts in the Philippines. But like your home is equipped, your family home is equipped with 110, correct? Is it both or just 110?
Um,
Because your family home's been there forever.
yeah. Well, I would say usually certain families do have usually have 110.
But what is very common here, even at the hotels?
No. 220 is default.
Oh, 220. He said
Well,
220. Yeah, it
it's
says
220
220.
240. They're yeah.
Yeah, I think itself, it's probably, it could be, hopefully, it's just a fuse at the box that needs to be replaced because it's exactly at the wall. It's on each side. So the one on the outside and the inside that seems to be connected from is gone. Soon as the power went down for like 15 minutes, and right before it happened, weirdly there was surges, and we've talked about these before, and there was nothing running. There was no cooking going on. So I don't, but it's not working. So actually, there was one item plugged in. We have the air purifier that is in there. So that's how I knew because the light wasn't on. So there's one in the kitchen plugged in. That's the only thing that was plugged in there. And then when I checked the washer, it does not work. So the thing is for me, it's not typical to get a hold of the landlord like I could in the United States. Everything takes time here. I suspect that I won't be able to do any. I bet you we don't get this resolved for a week or two. I'd be shocked. So I'd be surprised it's not till we do rent again. So because he does not respond when I ask if you're coming over for rent or anything, he never responds or anything. So he did like a year ago. He responded. So anyway, so I'm. Can that be directed at the fuse box itself, just to the line, or do you think the line burned?
No, the line burn.
So the actual. So they're going to have to actually. Where's that? They have to dig in the concrete. These are concrete walls. How do they? I don't understand how they fix that.
Yes.
Okay. So And
Um,
here's the thing, they should fix it. When we moved in here, nothing was equipped, nothing was clean, no nothing. But we don't even have a lease. The last place had a lease where it said we were responsible. Usually when you're renting here, you're responsible for the basics. So except for things like that, the actual electrical wiring. But things like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of repairs that would be our responsibility. I guess like the screen window, replacing the window itself would probably be our response, as long as it's not water or something that causes damage to the structure, right? Like the bathroom sink itself that's been leaking, that the pipe is our responsibility at that point. I'm asking you.
well, it's minor.
Right. So minor repairs are ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a busted tile on in the kitchen. It's been like that since we've been here. So then it's our responsibility if we, the same with the cabinets, anything. Except for this to me is a lot different. But
Yeah. Ted says it's the same as what happens to kids born on military bases overseas. They simply apply for American citizenship. Oh, we're talking about the new rules change kind of deal.
no, I'm going to say this out loud. He was just asking me about the lease. If I said that we had one here, so might as well now. If it's going to be said, then it might as well be corrected here. Then I made a mistake. We had one at the other place. If I said that, then I was mistaken. So, and what? If you had that much of a problem with me saying it and I now realize I made a mistake, then what's wrong with correcting it? You're right.
Zero to Hero says some foreigners would rather be a target than invisible. Well, this is true. This is true. They tend to get attention to themselves. Like a spot says, initially any baby born in the U.S. will be granted citizenship, regardless of parents' status. Correct. I think they're just trying to make it so both parents need to either have a green card or a U.S. status. Well, the reason being is usually most countries state that one of the parents is usually a citizen, and the U.S. is one of the few that actually does. If you were born on that land, you become a citizen. Um, Now, the reason why this is an issue is because they literally send, you name it, even a tourist can literally fly over here and have their child, if they're born here, become a U.S. citizen. And they do this. A lot of tourists do this intentionally from all parts of the world, that kind of deal. And same thing, if you came in the U.S. illegally and then have your baby here, and that's why a lot of pregnant women make this trip, this dangerous trip, and illegally sneak themselves into the U.S. just so their child will become a U.S. citizen.
All right.
Yes.
So, in saying that, then the parents have to be legal for their kids to become legal, even if these kids are in their 30s and 40s and grew up.
Well, they have
I mean, how are they going to figure that out if their parents are dead?
they have to apply for
Not if
citizenship.
they're dead. I mean,
Like
this has been going on
like
forever. This has
like
been
Ted
going
says.
on for forever. Way back to when Ellis Isle was opened up. So what I'm saying, if the parents passed away, how can they correct any of that if they never did go through and complete all their paperwork?
You don't need
From
your
20, 30
parent
years
to
ago.
apply for citizenship, just so you know.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
You don't. I mean,
Okay.
anyway.
They said both parents, not the kids applying.
Huh?
I'm talking about they're making it where both parents need to have the green card or a status.
Yeah, that's different.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, okay. What Like a Spot is saying, it's either you won't get citizenship unless, according to Like a Spot, I'm not trying to say what the new law is.
Right,
But
because
according
I
to
don't
Like a
even
S-
think it even includes that. I think even if they do, I think they're
Okay, like I said, what Like a Spot's saying, again, don't quote me on this. This is what Like a Spot's saying. According to Like a Spot, I don't know what the new rule is. For them to be a U.S. citizen, they have to be a legal alien or a U.S. citizen for the baby to gain U.S. citizenship. That's what she's saying.
I thought
That's
they were talking
nothing.
about terminating them all, no matter what they were. So, but I don't know either. I'll find out. Misinformation. There are so many different channels covering it in different ways.
Well,
it's hard to
I've
say
heard
these days.
of this before they talked about it. This is the ultimate plan, so to speak. They've always planned on doing this, but they never did, pull the triggers. If that makes any sense. But while I was in the US, I've heard of this for a long time ago. It's always been one of those what they want, you know what I'm saying? So so I kind of believe that this is the what the current status is. Yeah, like a spot, US citizenship. Yes, correct. Bill, good morning from Toledo City, Cebu. Hey Bill. Pioneer says the handouts did get old. Yes, they do. Like a spot says, I love Bobtail. Yeah, I know. She's yeah. There she is.
Yeah, so it says, all right, so what it's saying here is that the department and agencies no longer recognize children born in the country as citizens. It says that its citizenship would be withheld from a child whose mother was not a citizen. So,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
but they said citizen, as I don't think green card holder is a citizen, is it?
No. I know. That's why I said this is what like a spot said. I was clear on that. That's why I said that.
Oh, and it said, like I said, it had to be both were foreign because it says unless the father proves he's a citizen. So yeah, if their
No,
dad's an
one of them
American,
have to be a citizen. Yes.
right? So
Most countries follow this rule.
all right, so that's what
Most
they're
countries
talking
follow the
about.
rule of the
So they
couple have to be a citizen. However, it doesn't matter what country they're in. The child, if one of them is a citizen, then the child is a citizen. So
Mhm. Yeah, George missed the video this morning too.
Pinetti says I just got on, so I missed the music. Jose Rodriguez says it's unfortunate because I like dressing up, and I no, not in the Philippines. Spending it where if I'm inside a high and a resort where I don't set myself. Well,
that or in certain areas, yeah. But
you can dress up by dressing down, if that makes any sense. I mean, you really can't dress up here because of the heat. We were just talking about that, but you can dress down, in a classy way. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's one way you can do. Heidi says, "You're not rich, Heidi." Lawson PHA, Heidi. Slick Rick, good morning, Heidi from San Francisco.
Good morning. No, my guess is
Philippine prepping,
John.
the pew-pewing was in front of BPI on Don Jericho near Koreatown, 2 kilometers from
Oh, okay.
Garfield. Corner Clubhouse call out says hello. MJ. Oh, hey, Michael Johnson. How you doing? And
Hey,
Venus. Howdy,
what's going
folks.
on?
Philippine prepping says it was in the BPI parking area. Good to see you. Hey, George. Nice to see you. Finally says, don't scare us like that, George. Hey, Patricia. How you doing? I'm a dog person, but I like that wild orange cat in the background. He or she looks like trouble. She is, but she's not. She's a sweetheart. But she does have a lot of spice in her.
No, she had the
She's
bobtail.
very spicy.
And really, she's not even bobtail. I thought she was too. She's closer to 5 months old. By the way, she will be fixed also on Saturday.
The whole tail is there. Trust
But
us.
it went it went out and then it bends back and then back the other way.
Yeah,
It's really messed up.
the tail is so convoluted, literally, that it's all twisted out together. But the whole tail's there.
Yeah, a lot of the cats have these tails that are bent or crinked, and it's the first time
Yeah.
I've seen it outside the U.S. According to when I keep reading about it, it's because of the inbreeding of cats in the neighborhoods.
And the
They're
tip
just breed.
moves independently.
Yeah.
The little bomb has a little tiny tail of its own that goes like that. It's kind of funny. Slick what's up, George? Nice looking shirt. Thank you. It's like Heidi got me this for me. Earn Doggy Full says rates went up in April on the electric bill.
Yeah, it's been extremely hot.
Harry Walsh. Hi, Heidi, George, Ted Scott.
Yeah.
From Deer Park, New York.
Hey,
Harry.
MJ and Venus is in the house. Note that one that I said this is not even in here, so that means it's you. It's not here. Yeah. Which again, I don't know why they don't correct this. It should.
Philippine prepping. Update your air conditioner units. I run a 21 2 and 2 split 24/7. Pay less than 5,000.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a new unit.
No, it's a new unit.
It's a new unit, and we've always. I mean, when it's cooler outside, it drops to that amount. So even when it's cool here, and when it was brand new, so I don't know how. It must be the area you're in. If it's in this area, I don't know why, but it is hotter in the Angel City area.
Yeah. Now, like a spot says, I think Macopa is called a wax apple. Actually, the reason why they call it wax apple is because this is a green Macopa, which is not common.
Wow.
Usually these are red.
That's really a cheap electric bill to run 2 units, and ours is that size. To run 2 units and only pay 5,000 for 24/7 current air conditioning is really cheap.
I know. But
So
yeah, usually these are red. This is a green one, and again, that's why they call these the lucky one, the lucky Macopas. Now, the reason why they call them wax apple is because the green ones, they taste like tasteless apples. It's like eating an apple without taste. No, literally, that's what it tastes like, and the texture. That's what it feels like when you're eating this. It tastes like you're eating a tasteless apple. The red ones have a little bit of flavor to them, but it still tastes like you're eating an apple. Yes. So yeah. Yeah, I know. Now Heidi was talking about sayote. Sayote is a very popular vegetable here in the Philippines and in Mexico. It does look like a sayote now that you mentioned it. Yeah, but no, this is not a sayote. This is as even like a spot said, it's called a wax apple.
Yeah.
Ruby, good day, Heidi and George. Hey, Ruby.
Hey.
Ruby says, "Oh my God, 12K for a month's electricity bill. Yeah, right.
Well, that can actually be cheap comparatively. There are some high bills in
Oh
other
no,
parts of Manila.
that's not even
Because
close.
they run multiple units in each room. So when they have one in each bedroom, even a half of a day in the city in Manila, BGC, we've heard 25,000 peso bills. So,
Yeah,
and if you think about it's 500, but see, currently that's more than our rent right now. So,
yeah, and the average electricity bill in Angel City for an expat is 16K average. So is it is it above our average? Yes, but it's still not above the average expat electric bill.
but we do run a lot of things in here. I mean, we do the live streams and then the lights are on. We have fans. We do the washing here at the house. There's a lot of items plugged in right now. We've got everything here. I can't even begin to tell you. So
Yeah, Chris.
microwave use, everything. This house is loaded with electronics like it was in the US and items we're using. So
Right. Chris says 8 to 11K is a 3K difference, not four, so an extra $55.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why
Finally says is it 240 volts in the city? Like,
well, wait a
um,
minute. Did I actually say 8 to 11?
uh,
Or did I say 7? Maybe I was thinking 7. I can pull out the last electric bill. How much was the last electric bill?
I, don't- I thought it was 8.
Okay, I'll have to look.
Yeah. It's 240 everywhere. Now I have heard vloggers, which I mean Heidi's heard this herself, that they say it's the same in the U.S. It's not. Only 220, 240 volt in the U.S. is your washer, or I mean your dryer, but not even your washer. Your washer is 110, but your dryer, yes, it's 220, 240. But no, there are vloggers out there that do say, "Oh, it's fine. I didn't use an adapter. But they're talking about auto volt, systems. Like certain things have auto volts, but the problem is when they say, "Oh, this, you don't have to bring an adapter. It's the same." No, it's not. It's not. By default, it's 220 anywhere you go. The 110 units, the 110 outlets are exceptions. Those are usually rare. The reason why these people have 110 volts is usually because they have OFW partners, if that makes any sense, and they bring stuff from the U.S. and other parts of the world that are 110 units, and that's why they have their own dedicated lines. Um, Lost in PH says, I hear more about more foreigners getting unalived in Cebu and other spots than Manila. Is Manila safer, or am I just not hearing about murders there? Now,
Where is the expats being over there?
well, no, there's expats in Manila. Manila is really huge.
I thought he said Cebu. They're being
No, in
unalived in
Cebu.
Cebu. When was that?
No, this is just general talk.
Oh, gotcha.
No, huh? That is interesting.
What's that?
No, 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 no. I'm trying to think. Even me, remembering how many expat got exonerated in his statement. I hear about more foreigners getting unalived in Cebu and
And
other
other
parts than
spots.
Manila.
The last in the news was last year
Well,
in November.
yeah, but most of the time it's not in Manila. That's correct.
Isn't it weird? It's usually, yeah.
So yeah, and that's why
I
I was
hear more in
pausing. Even when I
Mindanao
was a
and
kid,
here than there is
yes,
anywhere.
even when I was a kid, most of the things that I hear that happen, again, I'm not biased or anything. I'm just letting you know how it is, but usually yes, it's further south that usually bad things happen to foreigners. Now, I'm not saying that's fact, true, or it's, I mean, I'm just saying now that you mention it, you're right. However, I'm not saying also that that's absolutely 100% correct. It's possible that they're hushing it. I don't know. But now that you mention it, that is basically the consensus. Most of the time, yeah. When foreigners get unalive, usually it's further south in the Philippines.
Uh, Enigma says, yeah, in Australia, at least one parent needs to be a citizen or a permanent resident. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, by default, that's how it usually is. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. Victor C says he could have thrown his bag on a rooftop, maybe. Well, th- yeah, don't do that. Because the reason why I say don't do that is because they might get ticked at you and
That's
then
true. You'd have
then
got it
ex-nay you.
anyways.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
right.
And you might have got
But
bitch
like I
slapped.
said, usually robbers do not ex-nay their victim unless they know them. That's a general rule.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, it just seems extreme because there was another guy there. So, again, and looking at the video, it looks like they did it afterwards. Yes. I have to watch
Yeah.
that video again. Pretty sure it was done afterwards.
Like I said, I was a general manager and somebody tried to rob our place and with armed these two men, armed big guys, and I ran after them. I chased out and they ran and I cornered them. But the thing is, by default, nobody really want to hurt anybody. And like I said, he was holding the weapon and he was shaking like violently, like because he really didn't want to do. He didn't want to do it. What I'm saying is, if you do what they ask, usually they don't have a reason to hurt you. Usually, yeah. And again, guys, I keep telling you guys this: don't do what the things that I do. In fact, yeah. Anyway, hey Scott, Lou, George, and Heidi.
Good morning.
Pine Eddie says this is also possible. He talked too much during his massage. So you want to be a big shot, didn't you, Billy Joel? But you want a big shot? Yeah, no, no. It's some do like because they're trying to impress the girl who's doing the massage, and yeah, I have this. Yeah, oh my god. Oh, you know what I do? That kind of deal. So it's possible. Yes, very possible. Like a spot says, the action figure looks like some actual vloggers. There you go.
It does. It looks like that guy down in Mindanao and some others. Yes, it does. Well, now that I look at it, yes.
Pioneer says the bag theft could have been a decoy, so it looked like a theft. Yeah, yeah, decoy was always helpful. I have like we actually got a what do you call that? Those prepaid debit cards that you get from 7-Eleven, and that's what we use as a like a decoy card that we have in a decoy wallet. Cindy G says, "Good morning. So I enjoyed listening to you both. I have my coffee for our lovely chat with friends." Oh, thank you so much,
Good
Cindy. Good
morning,
morning,
Cindy.
Cindy.
Says here, someone flat out told people stop dressing like you have money. That's probably the smartest one I've seen in here because most people, especially in America and here, Filipinos are guilty of it. They could be flat broke and they buy what looks to be designer items and they're overdressed, but it says here that the people need to stop dressing like they do have a lot of money. What appears to be a gold watch, clothing that's expensive but not. Stop flashing cash when you're in the bars and out and about, and stop taking the back streets and be smart about things. But it makes sense. People do always try to look like they have money. And a lot of them are just throwing the crap on their cards and everything else, and they're in debt to look better. I am calling it one-uppers. I am so sick and tired of one-uppers. I so much am in all manners. YouTube, out and about, neighbors, and it's starting to happen here in the Philippines. I could say 4 years ago there's not one uppers in this country, but it does really appear to be that. So there's a lot of the Western mentality carrying over here in the Philippines. I mean, I'm talking about not like what was already ingrained from over the last X amount of years because of the influence. No, social media is really taking over. But in general, I think people dress richer than they really are.
No, no, no. And again, like certain people, again,
Yeah, now I can't find the
it
video. It's
it's their
weird.
attitude again. Like they feel like they have to, like it's these people that tell tall stories. You know what I'm saying? Sperling Edwards says checking in from the Pata. Watch your six in any country you're in. Correct. Even doesn't matter if you're born and raised there. I lived in beautiful Connecticut most of my life. There are places I wouldn't go. There you go. There were places I wouldn't go. Yeah. What Samar says, imagine this guy's situation. After they stole his money and shot him, he have no money to pay the hospital bill. Of course he does.
This was um,
Huh. That's a little dark.
this was written. I urge all Koreans and Korean Americans not in the Philippines. Okay, maybe they meant not to go to the
Well, here's
Philippines.
the thing. The closest hospital he can go to, I hate to say it, unless they some good Samaritan puts him in a car, he can't even go to Clark Medical. Because Clark Medical, in order to go to Clark Medical, you need to have a car. I mean, obviously you can go there with a motorcycle, but nobody's
E
gonna.
trikes won't.
Yeah, e-trikes or tricycles are not allowed to go there.
But he's right. If you get there and you don't throw down a deposit, but don't they have the rules here where
Not
they've got to
necessarily. They
stabilize
still
them?
have to stabilize you depending on the hospital, and that's why I analyzed where he can go. Clark Medical is off the table because you guys can talk crap about tricycle drivers for those of you who have bad experiences, but most of the time when somebody's hurt, it's usually a tricycle driver that takes these people out of the kindness of their hearts and take them to a hospital and they drop them off at a hospital. And that's why I said, okay, um, odds are it's rare, but it's possible that they could have taken him to Clark Medical if they had a car. But usually it's a tricycle driver. Um, he's in the triangle. What I'm saying is he could have gone to Clark, which is the closest one. AU is further down, and then, well, they, I hate to say this, they probably won't take him to St. Raphael. They'll probably take him to Mabalacat Hospital. So, but which means the closest one is Clark, and then the second one would be AU.
Hmm.
But I don't think it would survive long enough anyway. I'm just saying.
I don't
But
know what information. It said a warning: random Panays, Pinoys. They beg for Gcash money on the streets. Western Union to be give to them. Do not send it to them. Do not give it to them. In the recent offing of the Korean tourist, it's making the news in Korea and other places because it'll make a big drop in the Korean tourism. A lot of Panays will have less money due to this, like the ones running the business. Do not give in to their begging. The Philippines needs to punish the Filipinos that are doing this to bring back tourism.
who's this? Just some random guy.
Pretty much.
I mean,
If the Philippines becomes a safer place for tourism, then the money will start to flow in. But they do. I bet this is swept under the table. But it's the
yeah.
same in the United
Well,
States when there's robberies at a convenience store in New York or Florida or something. They don't,
yeah.
they
No, I
put as much
mean
on it as they can. But
that guy is sheltered. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
It's an unrealistic statement.
yeah.
I mean,
I've been
you
reading.
really think that these Koreans don't know that this crap happens? I mean, they're our neighbors for crying out loud.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah, they know. It's like,
Yeah, there's a level of expectation when you're traveling to Southeast Asia, or when Filipinos come from here and they go to America, they should have the same thing. Same stuff could happen to them there. They can disappear into a sweat factory over there just as quick as they can here. The
right.
whole point is you have to raise them expectations and lower them at the same time.
Yeah. White Samurai says Koreans never tips. Your argument is invalid. There you go. Thanks, White Samurai. Angelo says, I never had that problem since 2014. I always carried 2 wallets as a decoy,
Yeah, I
correct?
mentioned that
And
before you
cell
came
phone.
in.
Also, kids try to pickpocket me. I walked away, especially. Stay away when the moment a kid or person touches you, s- walk away from that person. Keep your distance as much as possible. The moment people start touching you, that's when they start
I
pickpocketing you.
I believe I'm at the point now where I just won't give the money. In the beginning, it was a lot of guilt and feeling this and that and the sadness. And I used to do it all the time. And now it's turned more into angered situation because it's happening so much. It's just expected. And we've given money before where they still wanted more money afterwards. And so we just stopped because a lot of times it was happening, like I said, here at the house. So they knew to come back. You know, they didn't come back every day, but at some point they were coming back on a daily basis. I was like, yeah, no, that's it. So it just, I don't know, but I still go by that one blogger, not Bold and Bankrupt, but the other one, Harold Boulder. He just said that if you do it, he doesn't feel sorry for him at all because if you keep doing it, it just you're paying for their lifestyle in a sense. I mean,
Well,
he broke it down
Harold
correctly.
Balder doesn't usually give money away. Not usually. He gives items away.
It just teaches the kids to continue
Yeah.
to do it. You're rewarding. A lot of people like rewarding what? No, it is. A lot of these people go their entire life without attempting work
Yeah.
or anything else. And so, and a lot of them do buy alcohol with it and other things. And I don't blame them on that either because it's rough on the streets, man. Who wants to be, you know,
Yeah.
who wants to be sober when a lot of that's going on? But it's, yeah, so when we do and if we do, it's for the elderly, disabled, and kids that look hungry. But here lately, the last few times we've attempted, they didn't even want the food. So, like the kids that came here about a month ago, they didn't want to take the snacks we were giving them. They actually demanded money. They were like, give me money now. And I'm like, whoa, hold up, dude. And they wouldn't take our snacks. So I said, that's it. So, and these were the regulars running through, different kids. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, you just have to. It's hard, but
Big Dave says I lived in a good part of New Jersey most of my life, but I go to the bad parts of Jersey and New York City. I'm super aware of my surroundings, but I'm always alert. Yeah, no, you should always be alert. Correct. Oh, smart idea, Angelo. Thanks. Yeah. Cindy G's talking about the Angelo's decoy wallet.
okay, that's interesting. Somebody made a comment randomly about plugging in an air fryer. Plug in a air fryer from home, Heidi, and get back to the U.S. Whatever that means.
Oh.
But yeah, we tried the air fryers, and that did shoot the bill up by $60. But I guess, like I said, what I was thinking is, I thought the bill was 7 or 8, so that's why I guess I calculated 4. But no, it does send the bill up. But now it is. It's been extremely hot.
No, it is.
Air
Like a,
fryer, you can forget about it.
right. Like a spot says, the space capsule looks like just the tip.
And honestly, in my opinion, I believe the electrical's so old in this house is what's causing our issue. I think all these
No, no,
sockets
no.
is causing our
It's
higher
it's
bill
an
right
old
now.
building with outdated code. Yes.
So if there's a reason, if they something inside me is telling me the landlord is not going to fix
Oh,
that
and
socket.
when I say old building, it's not that old. It's a 20-year-old building, and if you guys look it up, Lord of the Rings is older than that. I'm just saying.
So in my opinion, he's not going to fix that. I bet we struggle with that. I bet we do. And if it doesn't, unfortunately, that is a very essential. There are very little sockets in this house. And right now we have 1, 2. There's not even another one on this wall right now, is it? Except for in here.
Right there, where you're pointing
Okay,
at,
so there is only the 2 on the wall there. I think so. There's the one there where it looks like a refrigerator because there's a thing. So there's one and then two. So if one of the two are out of the kitchen, it's an impossible. I tried to figure this out last night, and it's like, then what? So if that affects putting hot water and different things, it's an issue for me. So
Like a spot says, congratulations, George. Oh, thanks so much. She's talking about me qualifying for a world championship Call of Duty. Legendary tip.
well, are you going
Thanks.
to?
No, no. I wasn't even qualifying. I wasn't trying to qualify for world championship Call of
So
Duty.
why wouldn't you? I mean, you already game a lot. Why wouldn't you
Actually, I
do it?
don't. I don't. Call of Duty, I play. Okay, in Call of Duty, I do play it almost every other day, and I say almost. The reason being is because if you lose your rankings, if you don't play it, you lose your rank. So it that way it forces you to play. So let's say you're legendary. If you don't keep playing, you get demoted, and then you're not legendary anymore. You're just another nobody. You know what I'm saying? So you have to keep playing every day to keep your rank up, 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 up. That kind of deal. So I play 2 games every other day or something like that, just enough so I don't get demoted. That kind of deal. So I wasn't qualifying. I was just playing these regular games, but apparently this one game I was just literally cleaning,
Gotcha.
mopping everybody like crazy. I guess that got me um, qualified. But anyway, um, finally says I thought it all was, but way out in Bohol on both town had 110.
At 120.
Well, I know that. I read it 110 because 120 is 110.
Gotcha.
If you read the 110, 120, 220, 240, if you read the labels, that's what it says. 110, 120, 220, 240. So what I'm saying, I'm just saying the default. What electricians won't say 120, they'll say 110. Electricians won't say 240, they'll say 220. Anyway, um, yeah. See, like this, like Ruby says 110, 220. That's the default. Some houses and angels have both 110 and 220, especially those were built years ago when bases were present. CCTV cameras in my neighborhood has Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Black Grandpa says, Happy Easter, wonderful people of the Philippine Antics from Brampton, Ontario. Hey, Black Grandpa, how you
Hey,
doing?
Black Grandpa.
Pinelli says, You talk to Heidi and George so you let them know what they need to balance their load. With 240, you can have 220 legs. You shouldn't have 30 amp load on one leg and 10 on the other.
Talking about in am I missing something?
Okay, the fuses, he's talking about the fuses. He's saying,
So do you think that plug on each side is on one of the fuses? But there wasn't a whole lot running
no,
on
no,
that
no, no.
one.
The problem with that is it didn't touch the fuse. It burnt the line. Like I said, I wish it burnt the fuse because if it burnt the fuse, see, here's the problem. That means that the fuses are okay. Here's what happened. What happened is when they said, "Oh, this building needs X and X voltage rating or amp rating." Okay, sorry, amp rating, because amp is the one that kills you. Remember that. So when they do an inspection, they're going to look at the fuse box and look at the inspectors don't really do a proper inspection. They just go to the fuse box. You look at the fuse box. Oh, these are 40 amp fuses. They're the right ones. Check. But the lines are 30 amp lines because when they say update it, all they did was change the fuses into the bigger fuses.
Gotcha.
Now, when this happens, this happens in the U.S. too, just so you guys know. And some of these wannabe electrician. I'm not an electrician. I'm not, but I know enough what not to do. So some people, you know how sometimes you have an appliance or something and your fuse keeps tripping, like literally tripping, and then you turn on the appliance and then it trips again. Some do-it-yourself electricians change that fuse into a higher rating fuse so it won't trip. But guess what? You know what happens when you do that? The line burns, and when that line burns, that's when your house goes down. That's when your house burns because the line isn't designed to carry that load, and the job of the fuse is to stop the electricity from going through.
All right.
So
So what happened when the electric came back on? It did something.
right, but the fuses are higher than the rating of the wire. So that's why I said I really wish the fuse is the one that burnt, because if the fuse that burnt, then that means the wiring is proper. This tells me the wiring is somebody did a shortcut somewhere. That's what it means.
Is there any way they're going to try to nail us to that?
They can't
I didn't think so.
because you did mention that, oh, you know, they could blame us for this.
Right.
I was thinking to myself, well, technically they can't because the wirings are not proper.
Right.
Anyway, a little electrician thing for you guys there. Again, I'm not an electrician, but I know enough. But anyway,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm
and that's what
kind
Pinetti is
of
talking about. Just so you guys know. So I guess Pinetti, you're an electrician. Alex and Mealy, hey, good morning from the Philippines. Good
good
morning.
morning.
Pinetti, everything is 240, then none of that apply. Undersized wire for load will pull higher current, costing them more. See, yeah, that's what it's an undersized wire, correct? It's the wrong gauge. Right, it's the wrong gauge. Other thing is to turn off the breaker and tighten all connections. Well, I guess we'll see. Patricia says no one's talking about taking away birthright citizenship retroactively. It's just going to be going forward. Okay, that's what I thought so too, because they really can't do that. And it's not the American way, but then again, I guess the American way is changing now, isn't it? Um, Alex Emily says it's going to be a new law, not applied to U.S. citizens. Like Expat says, I think they're just trying to get rid of birth tourism. Correct. Thank you. Yes, that's what I just said. That there are tourists that actually the only objective is when you're due, you fly to the U.S. Correct. Alex Emily says it will be impossible to enforce it to those who are alive and have been raised as U.S. citizens. Well, it's actually not hard to enforce. It's just wrong. In fact, somebody did a movie on it where um um of like an adult, they deported him to Mexico because apparently his parents never actually registered him, and his parents died. Is that Blue Lake? Is it, what's it called? Yeah, but anyway,
Oh, you're talking about that movie where you had to go
that's
back or
that's
something?
based on a true story, correct? And well, based on a true story that happens to a lot of people. So do they enforce this? Yes, there's a lot of born and raised Americans here, but since their parents, I guess they're in the gray area, they don't count. And since their parents are dead, there's no evidence, and poof, they deport them to some country that they never ever stepped foot on ever. You know what I'm saying? Patricia says U.S. is one of those few countries with birthright citizenship. If I went and had a baby in UK, France, and Spain, my baby wouldn't be entitled to citizenship. We'd be expected to return to the US.
Yeah, so a lot of countries have that. So.
Angela says my daughters were born on C19. She's Canadian or Philippine. Is she Canadian or Philippine citizen? No, no, no,
And
no. If you're wait. So
it's a confusing question.
no,
She
no, no,
said
because
she didn't say where.
yeah, you
just
didn't
when.
say where, but by default, doesn't matter what country you're in, because I believe in Canada they follow that rule too. If the baby was born in Canada, I believe they are Canadian, but in the Philippines, yes. If you if your daughter were born in the Philippines, then they are Filipinos. Yes, yes, that's
That is
what the
so
one we're
weird.
confused. We're not sure which
I don't think this is
country.
normal the way they. Is that
Feed.
normal? Yeah, the kittens tend to like she's eating and she's got her back end jacked up and they are super big and they're nursing up underneath her like the cows and the goats do.
Oh,
It's
she's asleep.
it's really unusual.
Yeah.
Because usually they're laying down, but they've always done this since they were little kittens. They all just attach up underneath her while she's eating or drinking or.
We'll do this next time. I know I can play.
Well, yeah, kind of.
No, I mean they're still feeding while she's standing up.
I kind of wish they would stop, or we should put the cat suit on because I don't want when you take them into the vet, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're not going to do it because she's still nursing stuff." Because
Oh,
they
that's right.
do, but they're not supposed to be. It's so we just got to make sure they understand that technically they've been eating dry food forever. They're not relying on it; they're just attached to their mother. So
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, but we need to get mom fixed. So.
yeah. Friendly Edward says we take care of the neighborhood street cats. Several have bent tails.
Yeah.
Enigma says in Australia, at least one parent needs to be a citizen or permanent resident for a child to be automatically Australian citizen at time of birth. Earn Doggy Full says they call those butt plugs in West Hollywood. Oh. Yeah, that's funny. SMDC. So, I would check that. I would check. That seems unreasonable. Maybe the cats have an aircon connection outside. No, 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 no. That's about right. I mean,
We spent a high amount at the other
it's
house
not
for 10
unreasonable. No.
hours. Like we would turn it on at 7 o'clock at night in just one room, but we didn't have the same type of unit and we still paid 10 to 12,000 over there. And that was a few years ago. No, I think the houses are old, but I I don't know. A lot of places are old here. I don't think anything's really up to date unless you just have it built just now.
Well, like I said, yeah.
I don't think we're gonna
Like I said, this
have.
building is about give or take at max 25 years old. But then again, like I said, Lord of the Rings is that old. So it's not that old if you think about it. It's kind of sad. Like, I mean, yeah, when years ago when Lord of the Rings did their 20th anniversary, I'm like, has it been that long? You know, that kind of deal. But anyway, Angelo says I paid 1,500 electric bill. Finance says, isn't your electricity on a tier system, aka privilege fee? There is a scale, yes. Ruby says last big electric bills we had in December and 2024 in January were
Yeah, it's
both
Pelco too, and we're up to me. That's
5.7 each.
insane for the Philippines. I just don't get it.
Total of 11.4K for 2 months.
Yeah, they're saying the bent tail is genetics.
Yeah.
And yes, it is, and it can be caused. It's either saying it's a special breed or but most of them have kink tails.
Right.
And it says yes, inbreeding or.
SMD.
Yeah, I don't get the comment.
Oh, that was him. Okay. No,
back
we already read that. White
Get
Samurai
back
says,
to us or something.
I think Australia
But they meant
changed.
U.S. I guess he
change.
meant us. Get back to us.
Yeah, get back to US. Yeah.
Yeah, we already did, and it did cause the electric bill to go up. So
I think Australia had changed its rules. It used to have birthright citizenship too, but US and Canada were the only places that still allowed it. Trump's decision to end it is a big one. It will. Ru- Brian Eddie says, "Do you have people above your single story?" I asked because
this is a two-story,
no, it's a story. What
two-bedroom, two
installation and
bathrooms.
ceiling? No, 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 no. Again, Pinetti. Just so you know, this is not the usual typical electric bill. But on average, it's usually five.
Well,
On average.
people will probably see an increase. This is one of the hottest summers that's been here in a while. So I'm
Yeah.
sure when people's bills start arriving, so
Um.
yeah, I'm not gonna even get into it.
Yeah. Ruby says, in the Philippines, I only wear my wedding ring and no other jewelry. Steven says the last masseuse set up the Korean. Probably it's actually a common scam, or I don't know if you can call it scam, but yes, usually there's somebody working inside that calls the one outside. Yes.
Okay. So that's why I was thinking it was much higher. So that was me. Again, this is a live. The electric bill was 6,000 last month, not 8. So it was more than $80. So it bet my mind, I told my mind's off today. I don't know what it is. The sleep's not been the greatest the last couple of days. So it was 6,000. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 5,000. That's $100 higher this month. So it was just me calculating and saying it out loud. Actually, it was 56.50. And before the prior was 7,000, which would have been 4. So prior was 6, the one before that was 7, and it jumped to 11. So, and probably is not.
No, and like I said, that's why I said I have bad news because it's usually not that high. But Pinetti says Harold and Tim used to give out cash. Cindy G says agreed. Stop handouts. I volunteer with many organizations here that are legit to help kids. So give give to them to get kids educated. I carry bread and give, and many say no, just want money.
Yeah, a lot of them just want the money, and that's what they ask for on the side. So, yeah.
Lost in the PH says, what cities in the Philippines are you least and most unlikely, you mean? Or, oh, most likely to be unalive. You're actually asking. Well, obviously BGC and Davao City. Well, I wouldn't say Davao anymore because there's a lot of weird stuff going on down there, especially with Duterte gone. Now, I know Duterte is not in power anymore, but it doesn't matter. The politics doesn't end because the guy is not the president anymore.
But
But
here's the thing: the unalived would be one thing, but didn't they kidnap that Chinese businessman out of BGC? They did. They
yeah, I
come
know.
and got him. Yeah, he's lucky that. So yeah, being in the nice rich area doesn't really. It could make you just as much.
Yeah, but
of
if
a
you're
target.
targeted, you're targeted.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter where you're at. That's the thing. That's why I say that's kind of like not necessarily involves the location anymore. If you're targeted, you're targeted. It doesn't matter where you live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If they pegged you, they pegged you.
Well, we had that. Pinetti said maybe you're cooling the landlord's house. We did have a problem when we moved in here, because our 2-week electric bill was extremely high. And we think the previous bill was attached to it because they do tend to do that for the next person. you end up paying the previous person, but the place had been empty for a while. But there was a caretaker in here, but there was no items. What could he have been running? He didn't have anything in here but charging his phone. So I can't see, but we believe he was feeding the electricity to neighbors or something through lines. So I'm not sure, but our first electricity bill was 10,000. Was it 10,000 in 2 weeks? We talked about that when we moved in here a few years ago. It was kind of up there. We were really shocked. And when we calculated, we had none of the stuff plugged in. We did not run an AC 24/7. We had fans, and it just shocked us. After 2 weeks, we ended up with such a high bill. But the only thing we can think of is the guy that was in here was using electric cords to run it, because the neighbor that was next door had a sorry store and a lot of different things going on, and a big family. I who knows. But I'm starting to wonder. I'm actually thinking we are supplying electricity on either side. I don't even know what's going on anymore. So, but it's not the highest electric bill, so I don't exactly question it either. But to pay $200 a month for electric is, for me, is crazy for the infrastructure and for the cost of living and stuff. So, but I did expect that, yes. So there's no shock to me. So, because I know the AC is working harder, and I did drop it down a notch, which George said it doesn't matter. We've had it cleaned out. It's not clogged. It's not super old. It's not, it's maintenance. It's cleaned upstairs. That got cleaned. We do it every few months, and then they just did the extended clean where they really cleaned even the thing with the
Well, like
sprayer
I said,
upstairs.
normally
And
the electric bill isn't that high.
yeah, so somehow we're in electricity thing. So are we?
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lawson PH says, can you rank the following cities at least most likely to be unalive by crime or terrorism? Well, the only one, I hate to say this, for the most part, the four cities that you put, I mean, Baguio, other than petty crime, is really high there. It's extremely high.
So Cebu, Dumaguete,
Cebu
Davao,
would be the one of
Baguio.
the worst as far as unaliving goes, and then
Dumaguete, because it's so crowded and there is a lot of crap that goes on over there. So I
well,
wouldn't put Davao in front of Baguio. Would you put Davao
no.
next?
All I was saying, gonna say again, is Cebu is probably the worst one,
Okay.
and then I hate to say this again, is Davao would be the next one. The reason being is there's a lot of instability there
Okay.
right now. It's just the local politics is a little off right now. If that makes any sense. Politics control crime. Period. So say what you want to say. It's facts. In fact, politics controls crime even in the U.S. Um, anyway, and it's not a conspiracy either. Sperling Edwards says, when I lived in Iloilo, our landlord fixed things, but it took a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Depends on the situation of the relationship. I'm talking about not us. I'm talking about, first off, is the landlord the actual owner?
Correct.
The landlords most of the time. Remember, a landlord is not necessarily the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Landlord just, I mean, I get it. Landlord usually is the owner, but here, landlord's the one that what's the word for it? Um, they're the property managers.
Right. So.
Right.
And ours is in the U.S. and he's a doctor. So if we have to rely on reaching out to him in the U.S. to get a hold of, we shall see.
Oh
We
yeah, I haven't
shall
seen
see.
him. Yeah, forever.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that I don't expect anything, but never had a problem in the US. If I'd have reached out that night, we would have heard from him that night. So I didn't hear from him yesterday. And usually he'd be moving around by now. We haven't heard from him this morning. So now I'm assuming it will take a little bit. And that's even if his number's active. Last we had that number, like I said, last time he responded was in May of last year. So almost a year ago. So in saying that, I may have to reach out to the owner of the building and say, hey, do you have a current number? But when do I do that? So I'll be out 3, 4 days probably before we even get which is fine. I guess it's not life or death. I mean, we can order out food, we can use the microwave, we can go. I mean, I'm not going to plug the cooking unit in somewhere else. It's just, it belongs on those tiles properly so nothing gets burned. So it looks like we'll be microwaving or running out for barbecue.
Right.
So it's not same with the cold showers. It's hot outside. So because the plug for the hot water heater leads to those too. So the downstairs one is
Right. Jen says, hi, Heidi and George. Hope your day is
Hi.
amazing. Thank you so much, Jen. Finally says, Saipan's the biggest birth tourism place. Lost in the Philippines. Okay, now Lost in the Philippines just kind of got me in kind of curious, but not really. Not sure what law you're talking about, but birthright citizenship is hardwired into the Constitution. No law can change it. You need a constitutional amendment. Okay, first off, just so you know, we're not the ones saying this. Okay. Second off, again, I don't know. You probably need to listen to the news or something because this is a big thing right now. And third off, anybody, especially the ones that served in the military, it's very naive for people to think that America, yes, that America, does everything according to the Constitution. I
uh,
I love America and all, but dude,
there's just so many agencies reporting things because they're not saying what I keep hearing is because I hear all these different channels and news, depending on what country, they're not saying the ones moving forward. They're talking about terminating anybody that's got it right now, unless their parents were.
no,
So
I
I've
I
heard
understand.
that's why I'm saying there's something else going on. But yeah, I get what's going on. But it is the world of
Yeah,
social
no,
media.
but he's saying that they can't do that. Again, like I said, don't be naive. Things change, and can they change the Constitution? Actually, the answer is yes, they can. I'm not saying I agree with it, and I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying they can. Anybody with enough power and coercion and followers, they can. Again, remember, I get it. The Constitution is like Bible to Americans or to most countries. They have their own constitution, but you know, there are rules and rules can be broken regardless of what rule it is. Um like a spot says, mama can be spayed while lactating. It shouldn't be a problem with kitties feeding and clinging to mom is normal, part of the weaning process.
Gotcha. Yeah, these guys are extra clingy for them being close to 3 months old. They're really clingy. Actually, month one, they were actually eating some sort of wet food and crunching on. They're really busy cats. So yeah, they're just
Really, Hector? Hector says the Filipino cardinal is one of the favorites to become the next pope.
could be. Yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff in the news. I'm not sure exactly.
That's Sweet Caroline, Sweet Caroline. Da. Is solar at all an option in Philippines or too expensive?
I started to look into because we're getting a bunch of short 10, 15 minute power outages. By the time that happens, the house has to reset, and now this has happened. I'm looking into it. The thing is we do not have the finances to outright pay up front, or will we actually pay up front and drain our account to pay for something like that? But the financing for what we're paying right now on average of 6,000 to 8,000, we could be making a monthly payment to cover that. But as I'm to understand, it takes 10 years to pay that off. So then it's going to need a repair. So I'm kind of, I don't know. And I don't know. We might break even on it and then it would be steady, but I don't think we'll get enough through the solar power to support the whole house all the time. Could, I don't know. That's something that, although I said I didn't want to do it, now it's actually becoming a thought. Also, this is not our home, so if we go up and move anytime soon, that would suck out the Yankees. So that would kind of put us here for 10 years or something, because there is a payoff for a while,
Well, I don't think they'll.
5 to 10 loan.
I don't think they'll install it anyway without the landlord's permission. Or
Yeah. So
something.
yeah, so that's what it is. Probably if we moved out, talking about going further like in Tarlock or something, and there's a bunch of individual houses, then we might consider it. Another reason. But I'm telling you right now, yeah,
There's
her
her
tail.
tail.
Yeah, see, it's
See,
bent
see,
up.
you
You
can
can
see it's,
actually
you can see the tail now. See,
see.
yeah, you can see the tail. Yeah.
See, it looks. But no, if this repair does not happen, then I don't know, may be making another move by the end of the year. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have my limits. I really do. And I didn't come here to take cold showers. That is for sure. And if that's what it's going to lead to is not being able to cook in the kitchen and no showers, then that's it. This place would be cooked for me, but I don't know. And it's up in the air whether they'll fix that or not. So they may literally say they need the whole apartment to do the fixing and something, or it's going to be a long delayed issue to fix it.
Oh,
So
they're not going to fix the whole apartment.
I'm talking about that though. They would probably have to tear in the wall. I don't know when they would fix that.
No, that's why I said, in order for them to fix the wiring in this whole apartment, it would cost them about 200,000 pesos.
Well, I didn't. Okay, so not the whole apartment, but to fix that,
No,
what
I
that's
know
going to take.
that they'll probably just fix the line. No, fixing the line, oh, in a couple days tops. If they're actually working on it,
That's what I
it's
mean.
easier than it sounds. But no,
No,
but
I
they're
know
definitely
that.
not gonna
So
fix the whole apartment. Yeah.
it's.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Pinandy. Appreciate you so much. Try and stay
Thank
cool.
you.
Hector
Thank you so
says,
much.
joke around. Wait, yeah, joke around about the Pope wanting to go right away as he didn't want to see Vance ever again, and no chance in hell he'll see him in heaven.
Oh, well, because JD Vance met up with them at Easter and gave him a bunch of gifts and everything. But one of the last people he probably saw was, yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
So,
Pinandy says you shouldn't confuse the age of the AC. He's saying that doesn't determine the efficiency, but rather the CR rating. The higher the ER, the cheaper your bill will be, but they are expensive.
well, like I said in the beginning, yeah, I'm, I still think the heat going on is the issue.
Well,
Because we just had, they said you heard me say it was almost 6,000, but the previous one was at 7. So I think it's been the increase of heat and everything. So
Lou says there's power outages in Zamboanga during the weekends, half for half a day. I think solar is worth it, but for a 15-minute power outage, I do not think so.
we get anywhere between 8 and 12 hours every few months, and it was on a monthly basis. Now we're just getting a bunch of 15-minute things. So we have battery backup, and that seems to be working. But we have a generator, and that's short too. So, but it's still one of the major issues here. You got to pick a top 3. That's an issue here for. It's just something you never get used to.
Jen says, Heidi and George, what is your favorite thing about the Philippines? It's been one of my dream places to visit.
Well, yeah, well, I don't know about just one. For me, what comes at the top is how inexpensive it is to actually live here. Our money goes further here, and there's less stress about the cost. So, but then I weigh that against the other issues that we have. So, what would you say your favorite thing is
The food?
besides family and the food?
The food?
Yeah. Yeah, it tends to be inexpensive food and a lot of choices of food.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
unlike the
remember,
U.S.
I'm talking about we're in Pampanga. When I say food, we are known for the best food in the Philippines.
Yeah,
Just saying.
lots of pastries, and there's a lot going on as far as yes, the food that they make here. So street food is a lot like I don't know. To me, it's like it's always like a state fair and stuff. You can drive up and down the street, and there's just different vendors selling food.
I'm sorry. CBGB says, I have a stationary cycle. Like, power generator works well and I lose weight. He's talking about those bicycles that have the dynamo in the end, and when you pedal it, it generates that electricity. Remember when you were a kid, it turns on that light bulb in front of your bike.
Yeah,
He has one of those. That's what he said.
I guess half my mood went out the door when I think about my next
Who's
shower is going
this?
to be nothing but cold.
Aw.
So, but I guess I'll get over it.
Ah, yeah, but don't get me wrong. There are the newer versions that are more efficient than that, of course. Have you ever looked at the details of your
Yes,
electric
of
bill,
course,
like
of
usage?
course. Yes, of course. It gets analyzed every month, and a lot of it just doesn't change.
Turning calories to amps, right? Found Biabi says hamster steering wheel. There you go.
Let's see. Trying to see what it's trying to. Same as just about normal. Anywhere between 900 to 1,000, we use 948. So we use less electricity. It was 1,000 last month. So we're using even less. So anywhere between 900 to 1,000 is average for us. And so that as far as
Wait,
the
hold on. No, that's not what I'm looking for.
no, there was an increase in price. Yes, the price went up. It already showed that on Pelco. So the cost of watts went up this month.
No, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. This is something a lot of you aren't aware. I should probably take a look at the other one. On I'm not going to show you the whole bill. It says it. I don't know. You probably guys can't see it. On where I fold it, it says system loss charges.
Yeah.
Now, system loss charges is 911 pesos and 89 cents. So, out of the kindness of Heidi's heart, Heidi just paid 911 pesos and 89 cents because you're a good person.
For what?
System loss charges. So you paid an extra 1,000 peso. I'm just letting you guys know what that means. For those of you who live in the Philippines, go look at your system loss charges. System loss charges should be zero. Should be zero. But we are paying 911 pesos. And that's Heidi says. She's probably really annoyed right now. It's like, why aren't I saying it? System loss charges is another word for people stealing electricity on our street, and we just paid their electric bill for 911 pesos.
I don't get it.
Huh? It's not to get.
Okay.
They're called jumpers. Jumpers is when somebody steals electricity and not paying their bill, meaning they have an illegal hookup to the power grid
Which is true, by the
and
way,
stealing
guys.
electricity.
It happens more
And
often than not.
in
These
this street,
markets.
somebody's stealing electricity because we paid 911 pesos out of our own pocket. For them.
So other people in other areas, it's at
Yes.
zero.
So in the Philippines,
So that means there's a lot of electricity being stolen.
correct. The electric company says,
There it
oh,
is.
so basically do this. You get that number, multiply it by the number of residents on the street. Okay. And that's how much electricity they stole.
How did you figure that out? I've never
Oh,
heard that.
that's old. It's just I You know, this is one of those things you never
Anyway,
think
so
of.
no,
But
I
anyway,
would probably believe it. So
well, it's not probably, it is real. I mean,
okay, can we? I got
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Sorry.
yeah. Angelo
You're-
says bye. Yeah. Oh, say your bye,
Yeah,
folks.
'cause I
Time
got
for the Grand
time to
Slam
go to the
breakfast
bathroom. Yeah.
before it gets hot. Night all. Yeah. Yeah. Say goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate
Thank you,
it so much.
guys. Yep, just a matter of time there, SMD. No, I figured that. He should have been blocked a long time ago. So, always those running their mouths that are probably living in a dump, and so they're just calling out what they're actually living. So, it's really weird. We're
Luke
in the
says,
Philippines,
also,
for Christ's
scholars pay
sake.
homeowners for electricity that they are borrowing. I've seen it. Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate for being with us. Stay safe. Stay cool.
Hey,
Try to
Val
stay on the
Susan.
up and up.
Yeah, stay safe, guys. Looks
Yeah,
like most of us, we didn't even.
Yeah, love the intro and keep making music.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you. Might as well run it on the way out here. Go ahead and play. You didn't even get the. George missed the video.
Woke up this morning, stubbed my toe on hope. It was hiding by the dresser. Guess I couldn't cope with seeing it first thing, all shiny
Thank
and
you guys
demanding,
for
like a
being
motivation
here.
poster that needs better understanding. My coffee tasted like ambition, slightly burnt and weak. My reflection whispered, better days don't even speak till you've conquered that weird smell coming from the fridge door hinge, or figured out why socks vanish on a laundry binge. Oh, the legend of the better days, they're coming soon, they say. Like a package you forgot you ordered, stuck somewhere halfway. They're riding unicorns, perhaps, or arriving on a breeze. But right now I'm just wrestling with today's awkward sneeze. So here's the plan, profound and grand, ridiculously clear. We'll tackle all that sunshine, one slightly frazzled day a year. No, wait, one day at a time, yeah, that's the slightly saner scheme. Just keep putting one foot forward, fueled by caffeine and a dream. I tried to make a vision board, it mostly looked like snacks and pictures of celebrities avoiding income tax. My grand plan for improvement gets derailed by shiny things, or the sudden urgent need to know who really sings.
Yeah, so that's our latest song, and it can actually be used in your videos, or mostly it's just to cover our live streams, but it is available for those that have been asking.
Oh yeah, a lot of people are gonna be a Blue Origin astronauts this Halloween. Yeah.
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 Oh, yes, I'm sure.
Oh
So-
yeah, in Pinetti we can't set up a solar shower, although it's ideal. For those who don't know what solar shower is, it's basically a tank you put up on your roof, and it heats up the water, and you can take hot showers that way. But since one, it's a 2-story building, two,
Well, we can always just use the garden hose outside and do a Campbell Rose shower.
right?
It's true. She used to take her husband out in a wheelchair and hose him down outside. It was, and she put it on camera for content, which I thought was. But I will tell you, the water comes out for probably 10 minutes, way hotter than it is in the house.
Oh, it's
even
scalding. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I'm not exactly, but I will suck it up as I always do. Next
Suck it
live
up,
stream,
Buttercup.
suck it up, Buttercup
Suck it up,
Philippines,
Buttercup.
for about 10 minutes. All right,
All
guys.
right, bye guys. Love you
God
guys.
bless.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.